The following broadcast may contain explicit language and adult themes. Viewer discretion is advised. The opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the hosts, talent, and guests, and do not reflect the opinions, views, and standards of Pyro Media Enterprises, affiliates, subsidiaries, or its members.
Welcome, everyone. How is everyone doing on this Thursday evening? Since it's Thursday, then you all know it is time to have a candid conversation. Tonight's show was birthed out of a conversation I had with one of my guests and someone else. I forget who the other person was. But we're talking about the traumas of the church and how it affects gay people. So tonight's topic is church trauma and how it affects the minds of those who are LGBTQ. Before I bring out my guest, I want to read this quote because this is something. This is taken from the Christian Science Monitor. It's not easy being out in the Black church. None of the 7 religious denominations that historically make up the Black church are queer affirming, but LGBTQ people still exist in these spaces. So now, with that being said, we're going to have a discussion about this and some other things. Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest is an author, a minister. What else is? Oh, and now he has the title of executive producer for a movie. We're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna get into that in the beginning. And he is a friend, a brother, someone who I love. Give it up for the Dr. Reverend Dante Morrison. Welcome.
Well, did you have to say the Reverend? I mean,
sorry.
You so
So
holy.
the doctor. Well, he's a doctor. Y'all know he's a doctor. Kwame is our other guest in the building. So Kwame gave me no. That's how to do before I introduce. Okay. Well, he didn't. Well, you had to do it in the comment section, but okay. So anyway, how are you doing? How are you doing? You know the candid conversation. So whatever happens.
Listen, keep it 100.
Yes, what's going on? I have missed your face on Monday nights.
I know it's been a journey, but I've been doing a lot. People were inboxing me like, "Yo, where's the Dante show? What's up? Yada yada yada." Dana Dane's been wanting to come back, and I'm like, "Yo, I got a lot going on. It's a lot What's up, Meet the Whitakers? How you doing?
Yeah,
it's a lot to juggle." Juggling a show and creating content and all that. And if you're not on your 10, you're gonna just be doing it to be doing it, and then it'll show. So I want to be fair to everybody and give my best, but I'm coming back hard because I got a series coming out now. So I'm amped about that. I took time away to get that filmed and finalized. So
it's been the perfectionist. It's the Capricorn in you. I get it.
That's all that is. That's all that is.
So as I said, tonight is, we're going to, me and you had a conversation. Who is the other person? I forgot.
On your show?
No, this show idea came from me and you talking, but we were talking to someone else.
I forgot. You and I talk about so much. I forgot.
Can't remember who it was. And whoever it is, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Charge it to my head, not my heart. I'm getting older. So yes. So this is an important conversation because different things that I have seen and experienced in the church, and mostly what I've seen, I would love to talk about it and come up with solutions.
Right.
That's one thing I want to ask you and the other guests, like what type of solutions can we give the people?
Right.
But before we go there, Kwame, I want to get to Dante's Muka. This is a good segue. Dante's movie, the trailer for his movie. Do we have it set up?
It's a series.
Series. I forgot series. I'm sorry, series. Series. Is he gonna? Okay. Okay.
You don't have it. Did you give it to him?
Yes, and then he told me to give it to. You don't have that. You do have it. Well, I put it in the. You know what? Okay, I know sometimes production can be temperamental with me because I gave it. Even though I was asked why.
This is the stuff that people don't see, and they think it's always easy. This is part of making that machine move,
right?
You know, so
and I was asked why did I get it so late. I'm like, well, I just got it. But anyway, so tell the people about your series.
Right. So about 13 years ago, I wrote 2 books. The first one was called The End of the. Oh, matter of fact, hold on.
Hey, hold them up.
It's called The End of the Rainbow. This is the first book I wrote back in about 13 years ago. And I wrote it during one of the most darkest times of my life. And it's really about my life. And I followed it with a sequel called Yesterday Clarified. So for, people have been telling me it should be a series, it should be a movie, it should be this, it should be that. But, if you don't have that, if you don't believe in it, not don't believe in it, but if you were just kind of nervous, like people ain't gonna watch it, they ain't gonna like it, they ain't gonna this, they ain't gonna that. So finally last year I said, you know what, YOLO, you only live once, life is short. So let me go ahead and just go out and reach out to my friend who's a producer, Anthony Bond. And then for the last 6 months, we've been working on getting it together, and now it's finalized. So it's done. It's wrapped. It wrapped 2 weeks ago. The trailer released yesterday. It's called 30 because the age of 30 was when everything in my life kind of went topsy-turvy. So the whole series is 7 episodes. It's going to be streaming on Vim Media. You can download the Vim Media app to your smartphones. And yeah, so if you want to see the trailer, you can go to my Instagram page, Dante_Morrison, or go to my Facebook page, Dante Morrison, and you can see the trailer there.
And it's really good. It's really good. Really good. But it's funny because when I first read the book, I told you, I said, this needs to be a movie.
Yeah, you did. I was like, people. But you know what happened? To be honest, just real quick, I was dating someone. And I said, yo, I wrote a book, yada yada yada. And I told him what the book was about, and he said, man, you might want to read that. Oh, okay, maybe you're right. So when you put all of your everything into that person that's supposed to be supporting you and affirming you and attaboy, and you can do it, when they kind of say nah, and you that much in love, your nose that open, you kind of be like, maybe you're right, because I trust you to lead me down the right path. So, we need to no more. Is
this person one of the characters in the book?
No, he came after the book. Yeah, he came after the book. So
that's why they said it. Well, it ain't about me.
It ain't about me, so it's stupid. Yeah. Now I could write a book about him. That'll be a bestseller.
Now see, I think you should do it. Okay. So before I bring on my next guest, everyone tune into the preview of 30.
Oh, he got it.
Roll it.
Here you go, y'all. Check it out.
He got it now.
I just don't understand, son. You were raised in the church. You don't seem to give God the time of day.
Do you think he knows anything?
No, I don't think he does.
How can I make it up to you? I can let you tie me up. I swear to God, if you keep mentioning that situation,
or
I'm going.
What? Or fucking what?
Hey, what the fuck is going on? Fuck you! Come on, fuck you! Shit! Get the fuck over here!
Can we just talk about this, please?
Sorry. What are there to talk about? You fucking killed me, man.
That's so good. But you know what?
That's my baby.
I am so slow because I have watched this over and over again.
Uh-huh.
But now that I'm sitting right here watching it, I just realized that there are people that I know personally that's in this.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have my husband in there.
Which one?
DeMarco Majors.
Yeah.
Yes, God.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a sweetie. He's sweetie. And for those of you, yes, there is full frontal. Just to draw
DeMarco Majors. DeMarco
No,
Majors?
no.
Oh, okay.
But there are some full frontal. I do it for the people.
All right. Well, no, we didn't do it for me because it ain't DeMarco Majors. You do it for me. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest has arrived. He pulled up a little bit late, but give it up for this man is a pastor. He is a community worker. He really believes in helping people and loving people. Give it up for one, the only, my friend, Pastor Kenneth King. Welcome.
Good evening, Eric. Please forgive me. What will go wrong, can go wrong, will go wrong. So
Absolutely.
I had a last minute emergency to deal with. So please forgive. I'm on my phone, by the way, and I was looking for it in my computer, but I guess this will work just as well.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Absolutely fine. I think Kwame wants you to turn. You want to turn it sideways?
Oh, is it me?
Yeah, I guess he wants you to turn it sideways, so it could be widescreen.
Oh, I tried that. Let's see.
All right.
I own an Android because I have issues with being told what to do with iPhones.
Okay, we're gonna keep right here.
It's not turning. It's not turning.
See, you need to come on over to the other side.
Nah. Y'all make everything so complicated. Everything got to be iPhone. I hate it.
Listen, no, because it's so much easier because that's the phone I bought for my mom because her Android was crazy. Now she iPhone, and it's a little easier.
Okay.
And I have been telling her that. I said it would be easier for you to maneuver.
Well, I'm right here at my computer. If it's too bad, I can go right. If I can't find the link though, so
okay. Okay, if you need to, I'll resend it to email. But okay, before we start, I wanted to talk about this. I had read this in the beginning, and this is where we're going to start. There's a quote from the Christian Science Monitor. So it's not easy being out in the Black church. None of the 7 religious denominations that historically make up the Black church are queer affirming, but LGBTQ people still exist in these spaces. So now, what do you think? You want to start off, Dante? What do you think of that?
Where is that from again?
The Christian Science Monitor.
The Christian Science Monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what do you want me to do?
What do you think about that statement? Because it says there are, it's not no 7 denominations are queer affirming.
Okay. I mean, I can't argue it. It's a fact. I can debate stuff that's not factual, but that's rooted in a fact. That's research. That's proven. So there's really no argument about it. It's unfortunate. It's definitely unfortunate that we're still in that space in 2023. But it just means there's work to do. There's lots of work to do.
But now, what do you think about that, Pastor King? That statement?
I think the statement is a bit overblown. I think, but now in terms of the Black church, it's absolutely true. The Black church is the most homophobic organization on planet Earth, and I'm still struggling with why in the Black church we still struggle in the way we do with homosexuality, and it's really because of some historical things that we just find difficult to rid ourselves of. I think, but the main denominations, there are some main denominations that have become open and affirming, and I am not sure if they are. I'm not sure who they're referencing. So I do know that they're right about the Black church, however.
But now, this first clip that we're going to show is from Pastor Stephen Anderson. I show this clip because a statement like that, even though I'm not a Christian, but people always separate the Black church and the white church. But actually, for me, I don't see any difference. Now, take a look at this right here. This is why I say there's no difference.
These people are going to take you down a dark path. You start hanging around with a bunch of faggots and lesbians, you know what they're going to do? They're going to ply you with alcohol or ply you with drugs, and they're going to abuse you. They're going to molest you. They are going to get you into some weird junk that you have no desire to get into. Stay away from them. They are evil. They're freaks. They're predators. They're not reproducers. They are recruiters. They're molesters. They are predators. Stay away from them.
So now imagine sitting in the audience and you are what he's talking about. That effect, and that's why I say, and I brought this up because I was once a part of a former show, and someone we were having a similar conversation, and someone in the audience says, well, this is why I attend a white church, because white churches don't care about my sexuality. It only happens in the black church, and that's why I don't like the black church. I hate the black church, blah, 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 blah. And I said back, I said, that's not true. That's not true. Here it is. And so that's why I think it's Christian all around. I don't think it's one set race or nationality. I think it's both. I just think I think it's what we're used to dealing with, but it's across the board.
I mean, I agree. Please don't let me give you the impression that the white church, particularly the white evangelical church, but of course, they are horrible with this. The issue that I'm having and struggling with the black church is not that the black church even believe the garbage that this man just spewed. I don't even think that's it. I think the black church deals with guilt and shame so differently than the white church, that homophobic when it comes to homosexuality, and that is because we have often seen ourselves modeling ourselves after the white church. You see, and so we tend to go much further with our rhetoric. Although I've never heard a black church spew this foolishness, and trying to make sure that we stay approved by the white church.
Well, I have heard a black pastor say that, and this is when I lived in Chicago. He was a visiting minister, and his sermon. Now, why this was a part of the sermon, I don't know, because he's preaching about one thing, and then it led into, I'm just so sick of the church. I'm sick of the church because it's so full of misfits, faggots, and sissies. Mm-hmm. And I hate it. This is a black pastor. And it was fun. Well, when he said it, it caused one of our choir members to just be, upset, to where they called me, him, and two other people into a meeting and brought the guest pastor back. It was like the next day or like whatever day it was. Brought us on a meeting. But I asked him, well, why am I here? I wasn't upset because I think it's about how you see yourself. I think that's what really affects people, how you see yourself. And that's what bothers people the most. But still, sitting under a ministry like that can affect you.
No, certainly.
So I want to ask both of you. I'm going to ask Dante first. Being in a Christian church, how was it? I know your answer, but I just want the audience to hear. How was it coming out for you and being able to be a minister?
Coming out wasn't hard.
To the church?
Yeah, I think so. Here's my thing. I think that these conversations, for me, they're very informative. They're very enlightening. But on the opposite side of it, I try not to. I don't want to box everybody in the same thing, and that's why I try to be careful how I use my verbiage when talking about this, because I don't want to be on a rah-rah train that's like the whole black church is homophobic. Or everybody in the black church, or all Christians are this, because when we generalize like that, we're not shedding light or affirming the people who are really supportive of the LGBT community. Because there's a lot of heterosexual Christians out there. There's a lot of straight pastors out there that have no issues with gays, but they don't get the shine and they don't get the platform to speak about it because they're talked over by people like the guy you just showed. And I think that's unfortunate. And when we do that, we create a divide within the church as a whole or within Christianity where people think that either you're gay or you're straight. So pick a side. You ain't got to do that. My coming out story, I came out twice. I came out the first time. I had no problem with it. But then I renounced homosexuality, started dating women. Then I came out the second time. The second time was a tad bit different because I had been preaching deliverance. I've been preaching that you can come out. I've been preaching that you can change. Then I realized, that's who I am. I'm who God made me to be in all his glory, all his wonderment. This is just me. So the first time was easy because I just threw caution to the wind and said, this is me. I'm free. Flags and the whole nine. But then the second time was a tad bit more different because I had to be rooted in what I believed. I had to be affirmed and stand strong in what I had learned about God, learned about Christ, and learned about myself throughout the course of my journey. So I know everybody's walk is different, but I'm at the space now where I'm not gonna sit and say the Black church as a whole hates gay people. You know?
Right, but I think most say that because that's all you hear. Well, not all, but some of the time. But like Pastor King is I want to say he's the first openly gay minister that I met, and that's and I was like, that's kind of shocking. But he's a person that loves all people. And is your church affirming, Pastor King?
Yes, yeah. So can I make a response?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first church that I deal with is a church that's 147 years old. That's that's a 10 o'clock worship experience, right? And those folks, the average age in that church is about 80. Wow. The average is, but maybe, it's an older church. It's a historical church and a very polished church and so forth. And so the 1 o'clock service is a church that's younger, and we formed about 10 years ago. So when many of us who are pastors say that the church is homophobic, there are variations of what we're saying. For an example, I run into a lot of pastors and a lot of church members and a lot of churches who may be open and affirming, who say they are, but in their church constitution does not give me the right to get married in their church, right? To me, that's homophobic. And I want to be careful so that we stay focused on the fact that while there are those in the church, straight in the church, and there are churches who say we're open and affirming, oftentimes, but if the church constitution keeps me from marrying the one I love, it's still a homophobic act. And so it's homophobic to me.
Okay.
And large, when I work with these churches, the first thing I tell them is, let me see a copy of your constitution. It will determine whether or not where your love is, and whether or not I can really be a part of the institution, other than what you say I can be and do.
Okay. Well, now I want you to go into your coming out experience and being or staying a pastor, remain a Christian, really.
Oh yeah. So thank you. And again, thank you. I really do appreciate this opportunity. So in my coming out is probably during my first ordination. I've been ordained in two mainstream religions, one Baptist and one United Church of Christ. And on the Baptist ordination, there were people who suspected that I was gay, right? And so they and I don't know if you know what that process looks like, but there's a question and answering period so that they can affirm you by the convention. And somebody whoever coordinated my council put folk on there who were 90, 100, everybody who were, they were not going to be progressive.
They set you.
They set me up, right? They set me up. But still, I stayed strong because the issue became, do I know the Bible, not who I sleep with. And so as long as I was strong in the biblical facts, they passed. Now, of course, somebody, one older person said, well, why aren't you married? And so, I knew what it was getting at, and during the council, which is an inappropriate question to ask, but because of where we are during that time, he asked it and he didn't get any rebuff. And I told him, well, because you have made it illegal for me to marry. And so, so then a woman who in her 80s said, well, you can marry a woman anytime you get ready. Look at you can, and I said, well, clearly, I'm not trying to marry a woman. And it went from there, needless to say, I got through the council based on, I was voted in to become a part of the Baptist tradition. But it was difficult, but that's the time, that's when I came out. Now, I never hid myself from anybody. I was too old. I never liked that. But I never, I didn't wear a rainbow flag either. But it was during that time when I let the whole council know, the church know, and everybody else knew that this is my sexuality.
But now Dante went back. I'm going back to what he said. You said it's not the whole church. It's not. But I do believe it's the majority. But now, growing up, I never. I heard, because some people say they grew up in a church where they was but they had homophobic pastor. Whatever. I never grew up with that. I did not see homophobia in the church really until I moved to Chicago, and I was a full-grown adult. But I think but I think what hurts people the most, what bothers gay people the most, is the pastor can say it, but it's what their parents bring home to them. I think that's more hurting. I think that's more detrimental. Because I've read study says, I'll read it in a minute. Let's see. Studies show 51% of LGBTQ individuals reported being affiliated with a religion. 42% identify as Christian, 27 Protestant, 14 Catholic, and 17 as other than Christian. Now here's this. LGBTQ youths are less than likely to subscribe to a religious affiliation. And I believe that because, like I said, what you bring home. When I worked for this transit company, I worked in the gay side, I worked in Boys Town. I met more youth who were kicked out of the house because their mother said, you know, the Lord tell me to kick you out. The Lord ain't said that, but I'm saying that's what they say. And I think that has a lasting effect to know that my mother will put me out the house. And I'm in Chicago in the dead of winter on the north side where it's extremely cold because I'm by the lake. And you kick me out. So I'm roaming the streets to do whatever it is I have to do to survive. I think that's crazy. But it wasn't just, and that's why I always tell people, it's not just black. The black church is white church. I met some white youths and Hispanic with the same story. My mother kicked me out. You know, it's against her religion, yada yada. So this is now. Here's my question though. For that, do you think is it possible to move the black community to a more forward-thinking view on LGBTQ rights and same-sex marriage and just LGBTQ issues? Period. And I asked him because the church is, at one point in time, the church was the forefront of the black community. That was the leader.
Yes.
So do you think the church can get the people to move forward?
Yes.
You do. Nobody think that.
I'm doing it.
Okay. Now,
I don't go to a progressive ministry. You know, I'm still part of a traditional church, but I'm watching it slowly evolve because of my presence and because of my conversation, because of who I'm bringing, because of who I'm talking to and networking. So yes, I do think it, but it's not going to be something that happens overnight. I mean, the black church has been in existence for 100 plus years, operating in one way. It's not going to change overnight. And I think because people are not seeing overnight changes, they're getting frustrated and saying it'll never happen. But the same way that women back in the 60s, women was like, no, we can preach, we can teach, don't just sit us down. The whole women's liberation movement came within the black church. Over time, we now see women moving forward and progressing in ministry. It's all about seasons. And we are now in a season where conversations about the LGBT community can no longer be ignored, because we're seeing that the presence is there, our existence is there, and we're right in the forefront. We are anointed, we are called, we are chosen, our gifts, our talents, all of that. And we're now being loud and bold about it. So it can no longer be swept under the rug like it was in times past. However, we have a lot of folks that have a fight or flight mentality, and they'll just leave it all together and say, well, it's never going to change, I'm done. And that's fine if that's where you're at, because know your bandwidth and know what you can handle. But I am very hopeful because I am surrounding myself with a circle of traditional clergy who are talking to me and having conversations because they want to better understand how to be a father, a spiritual guide to their LGBTQ parishioners. They want to know. They want to know. But
that's good, and I think more should. But because I love to commend your pastor, because the Sunday after the Post shooting, that Sunday has always stuck in my mind. And when you had if you were identified as gay or bi or trans, whatever, to stand up, I'm laughing because someone Dante and I know didn't stand up.
Right.
But anyway, and the church and the people were genuinely loving on the gay people that stood up. I think it was brave for him to do it. I think it was brave for the gay people to stood up, and it was just that was a shift. That was a shift changer for me. let me look at it. Now, Pastor King, same question to you. Do you think the church can lead the Black community as a whole into forward thinking?
I think the church can do anything. Let me put it like that. And let me just say, because I'm not. Once I come on your show, I'm always never well liked by your viewers and some of your guests. But because I'm very, because I this is how I see it. The church was never developed. The church doesn't have the right to say I'm welcomed, and it's not there. It's not. The church belongs to Christ, and so it is not you to determine if I'm welcomed or not. That's not the church's responsibility. The church's responsibility is to make sure that I'm no longer the stranger. And so for me to have you bless my humanity, I have a problem with it. You're right, because I don't have to bless yours. So what gives you the right that you have to bless mine? And so when I hear the language, when I hear churches give me an example. Let me just say this. If that was your example when you were in church, that was wonderful, that was fine, and it shows progress. So I'm not downing that. So please understand when I say I'm not downing that. As one who's working with churches, that's a wonderful thing. Who say that they want to become a reflection of Jesus Christ. But what other church? So of course they had another choice. But that is what you're supposed to do. That is what the church is called to do. It's where, when I was hurt, you were there. When I was sick, And so it's like telling a father who said, I take care of my children. You're supposed to take care of your children. You've not done anything extraordinary. You're supposed to do that. The church
unless he's a father that was never taught how to be a father.
I got it. I get that too. I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I'm not arguing with that. And so and let me say again, I agree with what you said. I just need to put a different spin on it. All right. As I work with churches. So please, if I say anything to offend you, let me apologize up front.
No, you're not offending me at all. Okay. My skin is very thick. I'm here for the conversation.
I'm not accusing you of having thin skin, brother. I'm just simply saying. But we're not in the business of approving one's humanity. That's not what the church is called to do. So like I said, when I have the full rights and responsibility that you give every other member of that church, I don't let up when I do the training of these churches, because they will take a kind of passive aggressive view of me and say, well, we've allowed you to do this, we've allowed you to do that, we've allowed you to do this. You don't allow me to do anything. It's not your church to allow me to do anything. It's God's church. And some of the young people that I deal with, this is one of their biggest struggles.
Okay. Well, right now, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into some of the hypocrisies that go on in the church. See you back in 1-on-1.
This episode is sponsored in part by Bullet and Flight Radio. Get ready to uplift your spirit with Bullet and Flight Radio, the world's leading progressive Christian radio station. Experience the vibrant fusion of gospel house music and a rich medley of inspiration from all musical genres that'll make your heart soar. Join their extraordinary lineup of today's trailblazers, visionaries, and voices that matter, all sharing their stories and wisdom. Stay plugged in around the clock as they broadcast unmissable content 24/7. Your go-to station for all things inspiring. Become a pilot today by visiting bulletandflightradio.com. Bullet and Flight Radio. Your story, our station.
Okay, we're back. We're back. Okay. Y'all know there's always something that happens here. Now, but speaking of Bullet in Flight, everyone, tune in to Bullet in Flight this week's episode of the Takeover with Kire. I ended my series with girl groups, and I did it with all gospel girl groups. Check it out. It's a good show. I listened to it while I was getting the show together. Now, back to the show at hand. So we're going to talk about the hypocrisy of some things. First, let's show this video, Kwame, with Bishop Wooten, everyone's favorite bishop.
If Christians speak up, things will change. Newsweek has covered it. It has gone viral. It's everywhere. I told my son-in-law, I said, you need to post this. It's going to go viral. He said, you think it will? I said, it will, because people need to see. He went in a Lego store with his wife and children, my grandchildren, and he was going to buy some Lego toys. Goes into the Lego store, you know, Lego. Everybody love Lego. To get some Lego toys. All the Lego workers wearing pride badges. Roll the tape.
The Lego group supports what?
Yeah, the Lego group pretty proud to support the LGBTQ community. Do we not?
Yeah.
Yes.
But the question is, why are you all in here with those pins on? Do you think children care about what man sucks at home and what girl eats vaginas at home?
Time to leave, man.
Do you think they care about
It's
that?
time to leave, man.
Do you think they care?
I don't think they think about that personally.
Right. So why would they think about it when they see your pin? Yes, they do. It's disgusting. That's called grooming.
All right. Did y'all mind leaving?
Yeah. If you call security, tell security that you're in here wearing a pride flag on your shirt.
Come on, guys. It's time to leave.
You know what's amazing? Most children don't know. He's been educated by me. I think it's grooming. It's borderline pedophilia and child abuse for these weirdos to come in here and wear that, and at the same time, kids buy from the store. When does it stop? I'm sick and tired. Huh? Yeah, but I came here to buy something. When does it stop? At some point, we need to stop pushing this mess on children.
At this point, we're just gonna have to ask you to leave.
I'll leave, and I won't spend any money at Lego. If you're in here right now, and you care about value, this store is intentionally promoting LGBTQ behavior on children.
Sir,
Spend your money in a place that doesn't do that to kids.
Sir, you're about to get trespassed.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sure you recognize that voice. That's my first assistant, Elder Amanchukwu. He went to buy Lego. He saw this. Now, let me show you. Case there's always someone saying, well, you know, it ain't that bad, or they can sell what they want in the store. Why would he do that? Well, number one, he's a customer. Number two, he has free speech. And when they asked him to leave, he left. And see, first of all, what do you think would happen if all Christians did that? What if all Christians just simply spoke up? Most Christians do not speak up. Now, let me show you what he interrupted. Show the piece where Lego is teaching a homosexual alphabet to children. Run that.
This is the A to Z of awesome. A Lego celebration of the beautiful, powerful language of the LGBTQIA+ community.
Lego Play offers a universal, but most importantly, a safe space to express yourself and be who you are.
I'm a Black, queer woman who loves Lego bricks.
We invited members of the community to build Lego creations that represent their true stories.
The concept behind my build is you see this colorful, unique Lego brick to represent a happy, healthy, intersex person.
What I built here was a transgender garden. So all these different aspects of gender have their place in that garden.
My build is a castle. It means a family. So we are that safe space.
All right, that's good.
I think this project is a game changer.
Because visibility.
Now, see, what he didn't know when he went in there, that had already been launched.
Okay, Kwame. So, and this is why I say the church still has a big influence on the Black community, because even people who don't go to church, who don't believe, have used scriptures to bash the Black community. So how can ministers like you all drown that out? And
that man is old.
He does, Sean. He gets on
that
my
man is that man is old talking to old people.
No, but that's
old. That man old. That man gonna be dead soon. And the folks that they paying in the audience gonna be dead soon. That man is old. I mean, that man, I would have sat there and chuckled. That man is old. That is an old mentality.
But Dante, but in the Church of God of Christ, you know, there are people our age or younger that still listen to him.
And all of them bullies in Kojic are old. Because the young
bullies are old, but the ones they're talking to,
the young Kojicans, they chuckling at that kind of stuff. They're from what I have experienced being out there in the community and working at different churches, the traditional church, whatever, all that stuff, they're getting laughed at now. They're getting laughed at. It's a reach. Gay bashing from the pulpit is a reach.
Well,
and the millennials and Generation Z, they're becoming spiritual and they're walking away from tradition. So some of these denominations are going to die out if they don't shift their mentality. If they don't become more relevant and current and talk about stuff that is really impacting the Black community, they're going to die out because no one's going to go. COVID was the best thing that happened to the church. The best thing, because it made going to church optional. I'm no longer mandated to be there on a Sunday because we're in a pandemic. I don't have to go no more. I can log in online. And when you start talking stupid, I can unfollow, unfriend, and log in somewhere else. But when we have generational legacy going to churches, I gotta go because my grandma, that's her pew. My uncle built this wall, yada, yada, yada. COVID stopped all of that, all of it. And them old ass pastors like that still preach that kind of rhetoric, they're gonna be embarrassed when they die and no one is there but they old friends.
Now that was true, Sean. I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to be shady, but yeah.
Old people, I laugh at old ignorance. Because old ignorance, you can't change that. You can't. That's ingrained in them.
So that's what I'm saying. So you have to. That's why I asked about drowning it out. How can you drown?
It's being drowned out.
But you said they're laughing at it. Which that's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, it's being drowned out. That's why I said all the good stuff that's happening in churches, all the progressive stuff, it doesn't get shared like that. Legos, really? He did a whole sermon about a Lego store.
He did. But he also did one about Beyonce.
Boredom.
But see, here's my thing. And so Kwame said Gen Z is not pressed about that. Here's my thing with that. Excuse me. When I still say people still listen to his type of preaching, you have gays who are in the church and will see a gay minister who is maybe on the feminist side will dog him out. You ain't no minister. You ain't called. You're not a minister. Nobody should listen to you. I'm like, but you're gay. I don't understand that. And I think a lot of it gets down on the inside. That's why
Pastor King finish.
Okay.
But he old. Old folks don't.
But there's still many people. Okay, Pastor King, what do you think?
I think a number of things was happening in that sermon that I think the Black church, it needs to rid itself of. Number one, that wasn't preaching. It wasn't even teaching. No. There was nothing scriptural about that. And what bothers me about how we do church now is that it becomes a circus. It becomes that was no more than something you should have paid for down the street at a movie theater or at a play. And we sadly couch it under spirituality and a spiritual movement, or this is what God said. And we know good and well, if you were to sit in a congregation, see what he said doesn't bother me. Sitting in the congregation of people who sat and laughed at it bothered me. You understand? Because it will give me an indication just who I'm sitting with. And because pastors are men, we say foolish stuff all the time. We can be stupid. But when a congregation allows you to get away with that sort of foolishness, it speaks volume to the people who go there.
Well, he's done that for decades,
and that's why it's laughable. It's a level of ignorance that the Black community is getting weary of. We got so much other stuff going on that to sit in a place where the pastor's talking about a gay pride Lego store, it's like, dude, the cops just killed my brother down the street. That's your sermon? Give me something. Give me some words of encouragement. Give me something that comes from the heart of Christ. But a Lego store, that was a waste of time. And anybody that is supporting that should be offended that that's their pastor.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I agree. You said, but Sean, you right on the line of what Sean has said. Dr. Dante is right. He talks too much about it. He does. And Sean said there's real issues going on where you have people depressed. Like right now, I'm doing this because May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Right.
And we have so much on us as Black people, period. But especially Black and gay. This is a part of this weighing on people. This is why I want to have this conversation. See, what can we do? Well, you all basically done answered it by now. What can we do to help lift that off of us?
We can start sharing messages from our progressive pastors, sharing messages from those who really understand the heart of God. We can start sharing that and stop making idiots like this clown go viral. Because we share it and it just goes viral. Like the woman that spent all that time talking about Beyonce. But girl, you were just at her concert 3 years ago. Come on.
But she saw the light.
It's clickbait. It's these pastors are using these messages because they know that's going to draw in controversy. It's going to draw in it's clickbait. It has nothing to do with the gospel. Nothing to do with that. So it's up to us to keep sharing messages and letting people know what Christ really wants us to do, how Christ really wants us to live. That's going to drown out all that other clutter.
That's true. Now I have, as you both know, I'm not a Christian, but I have led other people. Well, I've told them about you all's churches. They can go either have them watch, have you watch you Pastor King on Sundays at 1:00, or have them come to Church One or not Church One. What's the name of church? What's the name of church? Oh, right, Church One. Yeah, I used to get confused. One church. Okay, Church One, and either watch it or come because I enjoy both services. I enjoy the messages. That's why I really enjoyed the message that each Pastor Todd brings and Pastor King.
Thank you.
I enjoy. Yes, I enjoy your Sunday afternoons, Pastor King, at 1:00. So if you don't want to see Pastor King on Sundays, he's on Facebook Live every Sunday at what's the name of your church?
New Hope Baptist United Church of Christ. Both denominations coming together.
Amen. And Dante, you are
Church One Ministries in Long Beach.
Okay. Now, before we get out of here, I wanted to play, because this is the hypocrisy I was talking about. Play that last short clip, Kwame. That was funny to me.
And the problem today, and the reason why society is like it is because men are being feminized and women are becoming masculine. You cannot say, I was born this way. I don't care what scientists say. If you say you were born this way, then you're saying, God, you're a liar. And I see this thing down here, but I'm going to ignore it. It is the most unattractive thing I ever see when I see women wearing uniforms that men would wear and women fighting to get in the military. And the problem today, and the reason why society is like it is because men are being feminized and women.
Did you go to the bathroom? Okay. So, but I say, and that's hypocrisy, but there are so many ministers out here to do this that will talk this, but as Dante called it, clickbait. Which then it was, and I agree with what you said, Dante. I think the go-to is when you have nothing else to talk about is either gay or Jesus hanging on the cross. They go to one or the other.
It's your way to get an instant amen. It's your way to get an instant applause.
Well, I think Bishop Long's situation was I think, because we used to work with New Birth in Atlanta, is that he had some deeper issues that he never dealt with. And it bled over into his ministry. And I mean, if you listen to what he was saying, he was in a sad place.
I mean, and I talk about that hypocrisy because, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I didn't know him, but he probably had some deeper issues. But I have been in church, once again, when I lived in Chicago, and heard a minister talk about homosexuality and how you're going to hell and it's wrong, yada, yada. But when church is over, you ask for my number. Why? Do you want to
That's internalized homophobia too, and we never unpack that. We never talk about that. There's a lot of gays that just simply do not like gay people.
And why do you think that is?
Because of society, especially within the Black community, because gay is considered effeminate. Gay is not considered not a real man. So if you are a man who has sex with men, or a man who's attracted to men, then if society's told you you're less than, then of course I'm not gonna like anything that reflects what I am. So I can't rock with you.
Right, but I think Meet the Whitaker says it had something to do about spirituality, or Sean, one of them. And I think it does, because like now on the end thing now on TikTok and Instagram that I've seen is deliverance from homosexuality. Do you get delivered? And then now I'm bashing the whole community. Mm-hmm. I'm bashing everybody that's gay. Sir, you just got delivered 15 minutes ago. So now we're going to hell.
But I mean, but that was my story. That's what I did that.
I didn't do that. See, I didn't want when
I did.
I didn't do that.
But you do that. But you do that. You do that to kind of make people believe that you're truly delivered.
Now, what I did do when I got delivered, I cut off all my gay friends except for Eddie and Jerome.
I did that too. I cut off all my gay friends. I stopped going out, everything, and I just started preaching. I started preaching anti-gay messages. I started doing that. I'm guilty of that.
Oh wow!
It's a lot. It's. But you talked about the title of your show is the mental effects. The mental trauma. That's my dissertation. I unpacked all of that, and there's a lot that we don't talk about within the Black gay community of how a lot of Black gay men have really just been destroyed by the Black church. But we also talk about the reconciliation that can occur as well. We don't talk about that. Oftentimes we unpack Pandora's box, but then we don't talk about the healing work to get to a healed mindset, which is the most important part.
But my heart goes out to people who are fighting, because there really are people struggling and fighting, because it's a spiritual struggle. Exactly, Meet the Whitakers. There's a young man who has a TikTok video, and he's bawling, crying his eyes out. He's saying in the video, he does not want, I just don't want to go to hell. I just don't want to go to hell, but I have these feelings. I don't know what to do. So he's tormenting himself, and he's warring with himself.
Because we're not taught to have a relationship with God. We're taught to have a relationship with the church.
Well, I'll tell you what I was told. Now I was told God does not love you. God don't love you.
You were told that by the church.
No, I was not told about the church.
Oh, well.
I was told at the time, that by my mother, who every morning at 4 a.m., I'll never forget, 1993, every morning at 4 a.m., I woke up to this. Come out in Jesus' name. I rebuke you every morning.
So your mother was the church.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
that's not me. She's the church. Well, what did God tell you?
Can I offer... I think his mother was an instrument of her own trauma. It's traumatizing to have a son who's gay living in a society whereby she feels could at any moment be harmed, hurt, or killed, or would bring shame on the family. There's a lot of trauma in that. And so if she lived all her life trying to be a respectable person in the community, and going to church was a part of it, but it was not the only part of it. And she made sure she dressed her child well, and he had a clean clothes to wear, and his hair was cut and all this kind of stuff. We represent, our parents taught us, we represent them when we go out of this house.
Right.
So anything that deviated from that representation, our parents thought would bring shame to this house. And so it often it's trauma that's been passed down by many generations, because we've always had to be 10 times better, look 10 times better, act 10 times better. We always had to respond. We were always in responsive mode and reactionary mode to the community, to the larger community. And so I understand his mother slapping him upside the head every morning and saying,
she ain't got no power because you still a homosexual.
It's funny now,
ain't got no power.
Back then it was like,
right.
but it's
she don't know
but she had power.
But now, but now it's a totally different story. She's more understanding. You know, we talk.
She old. Okay. She tired of that fight.
You sound like now it's funny that you say that real quick before we leave. Funny you say that because when I was in therapy with Dr. Ken, he said that I was telling him how me and my mother was talking on the phone when I lived in LA. He said, well, it sounds like she's done some change. And I was like, no, she ain't.
No.
But she had. But just because you're older don't mean, I don't think that means anything. Pastor Wooten is old. Exactly. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed this conversation. I would love to continue it. But let's see. Pastor King, subscribe. Yes. Like, share, and subscribe to Pyro Media and to Kandid Conversations with Kire. I love you all. Rock with me now. Dante, tell them where they can find you and your show.
Oh, just follow me on Instagram, Dante_Morrison on IG and Dante Morrison on Facebook.
So simple.
Kwame has to go, so I know. You know.
I know. Pass King, real quick. Where can they find you?
They can find us on Facebook, New Hope Baptist United Church of Christ, Washington, D.C. You can search us on Facebook, and we there every Sunday at 1 o'clock, or with the 10 o'clock service is a different worship. But the 1 o'clock service is the one that I would say tune into.
All right, tune in at 1 o'clock. It is a good service. I tune in myself. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. I love y'all for rocking with me. See y'all in the morning for Pyro Power Hour. And we're out.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Pyro Media Network's YouTube channel for more awesome content. Plus, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or upload new videos. Visit pyromedianetwork.com today, not just to check out our incredible roster of talented creatives, but also to gain access to exclusive bonus material available only to our Pyro fam. Show your support for this Black-owned indie network by donating today. Help us keep igniting brands everywhere.